Ladies and gentlemen, at some point the sorrow or even the regrets, they have been so painful in a way that I was left only with two choices. Number one, you learned from what went wrong. And number two is a very hard part. It's the part of learning to let go by forgiving two areas. In case somebody is involved, you forgive the one that is involved. But foremost, you forgive this one. We always think about how should we forgive like other people, which is already very hard, but it's even harder to sometimes forgive yourself. But you can't move into the future. You cannot move on if you still carry old baggage inside of you. And this is where I feel like it must be learned. Maybe people take it as normal to live a life and keep regret and keep frustration and keep all these things inside of them and not heal it, not let it out, not express it, not learn a way to get rid of it. Yeah, but at the same time, I also believe this is the reason why people suffer from so many different type of diseases at the same time, because there is some type of, I call it now, in my terminology, there is energy locked inside of you that wants to be expressed. Yeah, but you suppress it. And this is why it has to find a way to make itself heard, which can be a sickness, which can be cancer, which can be all type of mental diseases that nowadays, I think this society has a lot of it. That is the letting go part. Progress meaning setting goals, achieving something, doing something. The quickest way to not waste lifetime is when you really set up a schedule and just do the work, free from how you feel. Because also feeling sometimes you wake up one day, you feel this way, you wake up the next day, you feel another way. And it's just not helpful to base your structure or your goal on how you feel. Discipline meaning you stick to what you put there on paper. You take your time. You make the plan, and unless you really are sick or have some type of higher excuse, you just do what you have committed to. And this struggling of there are still so many distractions every day coming up. No, but you stick to the plan. You stick to your plan. This is what I feel like is a part of discipline, to do what you have committed yourself to. It's the one area. And at the same time, discipline also meaning you don't do the things you already know are not good for you. Discipline is not just about the active part of doing something. It also relates to the passive part of leaving the things out of your life where you already know is not going to help you. Both of these areas is, let's say, discipline. Focus for me is the ability to mobilize your energy. Energy maybe doesn't tell anything to the people. Your intention, your mind, your awareness. Let's say I need to do some type of work. I need to write the email, simple. The quickest way, most accurate way to write this email is if you are completely with your awareness. You are focused in writing this email. Right now, you don't look at the mobile phone at the same time. You don't listen to music. You don't watch another television show on the screen. You don't eat something at the same time. Your focus is on that one task. Because your focus is on that one task, this is why everything that you are made out of can flow into whatever you are creating there. You don't do like the bench press and do something for the legs at the same time. It doesn't make sense. To mobilize energy means to know exactly where am I focusing my attention, and therefore where attention goes, there the energy flows. Sometimes you need to get what you're dreaming of. You need to work for the purpose you think this is all about. First of all, maybe you need to become rich to realize there's more to this world than to be rich. First of all, you need to get the car that you wish for. You need to get it first of all and attaining a few of these goals. So setting yourself the goal and then having that drive to reach that goal and then realizing after attaining it, okay, that's not it. In order to do that, you need to be competitive. But at some point after you have achieved everything you've ever set onto your mind, and then you start to understand it's not the car, it's not the holiday, it's not what I wear, it's not how the people see me, it's not all of the things I worked for in the last 20 years. After this has happened, then a new world starts to open to you. And this new world doesn't need competitiveness anymore. Before that, if you want to drive an expensive car and at the moment you don't have the financial means to it, I'm sure you need to be competitive to get it because nobody's going to give it to you as a present. This is probably not going to happen. If you look at anyone who built up anything sustainably, they had to do it in a way by having patience, sometimes by investing the work right now. But there is no treat that you're getting in terms of feeling that anything is coming back right now. You invest your time and your energy for months, years, and sometimes longer. And at some point, this life pays you back the fruits, let's say. So what is missing between these types of generation is there are people who are willing to invest without asking for the immediate gratification. So a certain type of character now emerge from that. And on the other side, you have the generation which needs the immediate gratification and therefore is missing out on a very, very important aspect of human beness, which is the patience, the perseverance, the persistence, consistency of staying with one idea and keep going if you like it or not. And one day, after building brick after brick, then one day you can see the glory of everything to accept the fact that first of all, this life, it's just not an easy life. This is how it starts. Nobody is being born into this world and then just gets things served on the silver tablet without doing anything. First of all, by readjusting the view upon this world a little bit, that sometimes you get something because you give something. And the currency that we are able to give most of the times, it is lifetime. But the more skillful you become when you're learning different skills, the time you invest together with the skills you have learned are just bringing some type of output quicker to your direction because you make it in a skillful way. So what is it about now? Somebody wants to achieve whatever it is. I would say break down what skills are needed in order to get where you imagine you want to get, and then how do you going to get to these skills? Where do you find anyone in your surrounding who possesses the skills that you feel like you need in order to attain what you want? I look, what are they able to do? What are their skills? I see, oh, okay, that's a nice one. This is something I would like to do myself. So first realization is I can't do it. Second realization is there is somebody who has it. So I approach that master, that teacher. I ask him, what are the ways for me to learn the abilities that you possess? Then there will come conditions, agreements, contracts. I will give you that skill if you whatever. So, and then it starts. So, and like this slowly you walk your way through until you feel like, okay, now I possess the skill sets that might and hopefully help me to build up and make use of it in the area that I was dreaming of to find my success. In that is one solution. This is what focus means for me. If you want to create something, it's better to know where does your attention go. It's not that you are like walking this path and then you are like becoming superhuman or anything like this. It is very, very simple. You just become less compulsive and less reactive to whatever is going on in this world. Because this is where I felt like at some point, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be driven by what is going on out there in the world. I don't want to be driven by what is happening out there where I feel like I have no influence on. It can be the decision of the governments. It can be the decision of whatever is being propagated in this world, which is ultimately affecting me. And I just didn't feel like I want to be dependent on external circumstances because this just doesn't feel like my life is in my hands. How can it be that people around me, circumstances around me that I literally have really no influence on? How can it be that all of this is influencing my life to such an extent that it makes me suffer, that it is frustrating me, that I feel depressed about it, that I feel angry about it, that I feel sad about it? At some point, I just felt like it's very unstable, and so I started to ask myself, how come that I cannot manage myself in a better way? And this is where now all this so-called inner work starts to take place, where the self-mastery takes place. You are not trying to solve the issues of your government. You are not trying to solve the problems of your neighbor. The first thing you try to solve is everything that is able to trigger you to not be at ease with how this life is. What is the ultimate outcome of starting to invest some time in yourself? I would say you are getting more at ease regardless of what is happening on the outside. It doesn't mean you are becoming more ignorant to it. That is also a misconception. It is just the fact that the world around you, everything is like still in turmoil and everything is still burning. But because you are at ease, because you have become more stable, at least in this burning surrounding, you can now still be the guide to help the people out of the house. Because if you lose your temper and if you are getting stressed when the house is burning, who's going to guide the way? And this is how I felt my life was also slowly developing, in the sense that if I really feel like I would like to contribute something to this world, to this society, then it can only be done if I'm already at ease and with peace inside of myself. that then I can carry out in the world. Mostly I just try to encourage people, do something with your body. Just do something with your body. Whether it's Xiong, whether it's some stretching exercises, whether it's Kung Fu, whether it's Tai Chi. So it was something physical in the first place. But the whole idea was not only to make the people move. This was just like the beginning, but what we need is awareness. What we need is awareness. If you're already not aware of this body, it becomes even more difficult to be aware of what goes on in your mind. What type of traumas do you carry inside of you? If you're not even aware of your own body, something physical, something that you have every day in front of the mirror, how can you become aware of something that is so deeply rooted inside of you that you just can't even see it so easily? So the whole idea of emphasizing physicality, I would say, is the first step to begin the path of becoming aware. With this awareness now, the journey hasn't ended. The journey has just begun because it's this awareness now that we need to use and actually start now looking inside ourselves. Yeah, but exactly in the areas that for many years maybe were hidden there, consciously hidden or sometimes unconsciously hidden areas that we ran away from, that we hide it, that we write it, that we somehow started to cover up because in the past they caused us too much pain, too much irritation. But I do think that at the same time that there is no other way to really clean yourself up than really looking at all the stuff that's hidden inside of you. I didn't want to say, but sometimes there's a lot of it. Yeah, and how do I know? Because I know because I had to do it myself. So it is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to at some point start to realize what type of stuff, dark stuff, negative stuff have you yourself, myself done in this lifetime. But only after you really see it and you recognize that it was wrong, after you repent, then comes the freedom. I think that there are many ways how you can, let's say, motivate yourself to walk this path. So why would I face the dark side of myself knowing already that it's going to be painful? Why would I do that? So there are many ways, me from the area of the martial arts. I just know every time I suffered in the training afterwards, something really good came out of it. Same as like every time you face a challenge that was really difficult for you, but you still pushed it through somehow. You still like were patient and persevered and were consistent and still tried. And this type of challenge for me was a way bigger victory than anything that was easily attained. So literally saying nothing sustainable and worthwhile in this lifetime comes from something that's easily attained. It's the same that you find plenty of videos right now. You know, face your shadow, face the dark side, look at your demons. It's all that I can only say that from the way of how I grew up. And after like 38 years right now being on this way. Yes, I do think that's the way. Be very aware who are you letting into your circle and ultimately rely on yourself and maintain your sorry to say, but it's the heart. Maintain the purity of your intention. It's not that I became numb. No. I just feel there is an additional layer that I can observe about myself. It is painful, but it's okay for right now. For me, I'm really happy uncertainty is existing in this world because I cannot imagine how boring it would be if I would already know with certainty where I'm going to be in 20 years. A certain amount of self-control, a certain amount of discipline. You don't let your emotions run over you. Even if something makes you angry, it's not honorable. It's not respectful to now shout out you shouldn't do it. Be able to maintain your emotional states, maintain your temper at least to a certain extent. This is where I would say it comes to self-control. In the Shaolin traditional text is broken down into 14 different virtues. The virtues of action. What does it mean, virtues of action? It is how should you behave. Behave in a loyal way. Behave in a trustful way. Behave in a respectful way. Behave in a courageous way. Behave in a courageous way. This is the how should you do something. The virtues of mind, for example, they say what is it that nourishes the way for you to put the virtues of action into practice? How can you learn to behave respectfully? Because naturally, if people like insulting you, you don't behave respectfully towards them. So how can you still behave respectfully, still be loyal to people? How do you do it? And this is where it then comes to the virtues of the mind to really learn, to be patient, to really know what does it mean to be persistent, to persevere during your training. Yeah, if someone asked you which religion do you follow, what would your answer be? I would call it the religion of one. the religion of oneness, the religion of I do believe that we are connected at some way and it is my journey. I don't want to just intellectualize. The path is to lay out and remove all the friction and all the obstacles to just realize that it is like this. There's something about you which is stronger than the mind. The mind can be your friend and the mind can be your enemy. You worked so hard for it, now you have it, enjoy it. But you can't enjoy it if all the time you think about last week, or if you think all the time about what happens in the future. Enjoying what you have is you arrive exactly where you are right now with what you have. That's it. There is no wishing for something more of the future, and there's not wishing for something that wouldn't have happened of the past. No, you are in the present. That's it. And the more you realize this about yourself, the more you integrate this just into your normal being, then it starts to shift. Just bring more presence into present. If I observe myself, the most of the time I'm present and I'm realizing when I'm not. When I'm absent, I realize it. When I'm present, it's my normal state. For other people, maybe it's the other way around. The truth is you're always present. You just don't know about it. There's some layer on top of the presence which somehow makes you think you're not in the present, but we're always in the present. Just the realization that you are is not there because it is overlaid by thoughts. If you take the thoughts away, you will realize, oh, there it is. One approach that we have at the moment in this world is in order for us to feel full. We need to attain something. We need to do something. You need to have your diploma. You need to have your job. You need to have money. You need to have the first car. You need to have your need. So this approach is about you need. It's about doing. But the realization that I was just telling you right now that you have yourself is no. It's not about doing. It's there already. It's just covered all the time. This time is not about adding something there. It's about this here must go and that one must. Oh, there it is. Nothing needs to be done. It is something we have to undo. This is the Eastern approach. It's the balance. You don't have to throw away everything that you have learned. It's just that there are more perspectives, that when you have access to both of these perspectives, just find out for yourself. Sometimes this makes more sense, sometimes this makes more sense. Well, important part is as long as you have it, you can choose when to use it. But if you don't even have it, you can't use it. So what does it mean? Whatever there is to learn in this world, it's never wrong to learn it. You never know if you will need it one day. And then it's better to have than to need. It is one way out of many that are existing. I did talk only about this my whole life because I walked this way. It doesn't mean it's the only way. It's just because I walked it for so long. It is my understanding of how these practices interfere or are connected with building up a life that you think is worth living. That's it. What is the Shaolin practices doing for me? Help me build up a life, a quality life. But ultimately it's the mind. You make your body strong. You have movements that on the one side also sometimes are quite aesthetic. And it's so nice and whole for me. There's everything involved. There is diet involved. There is structure involved, like when would it be good to wake up? When is it good to go to sleep? And all of these things. So it's a whole nice, let's say, culture tradition. This is what I find so nice about it, that the search is over. You don't need to search for like, here I take this yoga practice. Then from here I take the breathing exercises from here, and from here I take like the dancing moves. And then you have like a mix-up menu. But mix-up menu maybe gives you the feeling of you have some freedom. Yeah, but structure gives you direction. You eat at 8 to the 0. Then you have training from 9 until 11 book 0. When you finish the training, you're hungry already. But you need to wait until 1-0. Cannot eat in between. Yeah, but why can I not just go to the kitchen and eat when I'm hungry? Because this is your mind telling. But there's something about you which is stronger than the mind. The mind can be your friend and the mind can be your enemy. And if I'm telling you there are 3 times per day eating, that's it. In the first week, still you're thinking about eating, you're hungry, all of this, but at some point you will have accepted it that okay, 8, 0, 1, 0, 6, 0, you're okay. And what does it mean? Now the real freedom has come. Now you're free because even if you're hungry and you say next food is at 610, no problem. I can wait. It's good and you're free. Not free is it's 2-0. I'm already hungry. 4 more hours, I need to eat something. I cannot wait until 6-0 anymore. This is not free. This idea of what does freedom mean to you? Does it mean you can go to the kitchen anytime you want? No, that means you are a slave to the mind. Free is no matter what the mind tells you. You can wait. I can wait. This is where now you see that sometimes it's necessary to have this obvious structure and discipline. But why? Because it's a helpful way to bring out that type of freedom that we say from our tradition. This is the freedom. It's also not the freedom in terms of you walk through clues. You have many beautiful women. But at home, you have your own women sitting already. Now you could say, well, it's a free world. We're all free. So my wife is at home, but actually I can still flirt around. This is a way of where you say, well, this is freedom. Yeah, but where does this type of freedom lead to? It's leading to suffering. You're causing suffering by behaving this type of free. No, if you have one wife, you stay with that one wife. That's it. And you stay free from suffering. But if somebody is tempted too much, if somebody cannot handle his temptation, he's enslaved by temptation. And at some point, this type of behavior is not just going to bring suffering to you. It also brings suffering to everyone that you are involved in. This is where I say, what type of freedom are you talking about? And the freedom that eventually is going to get onto the costs or is causing suffering to you and other ones. This is not the freedom we want. It's the type of freedom that makes us be able to live together in a community way better. This is the way of freedom where I can let you live the life how you like to live it, and you let me live my life how I like to live it. I don't need to tell you your way is wrong. You should live like I do. No, this is not free. This is limited. This is thinking you have the answers to the questions of the universe. Well, you don't, just as like I don't have them. The only thing I'm sharing right now is my observation. I don't say it's right for anyone. I just say until now, everything we talked about it worked for me. If something is useful from what we have talked about and somebody tries it out and then realize, HM cool, also works for me, I'm really happy about it. But if somebody says, well, this is not my way of living, I don't share this opinion, it's not a problem. What is it in the evening that is sucking energy? Most probably is the mind activity very much, which is sucking a lot of energy. You go to bed, you wake up in the morning, but still feel like very tired and not recovered. It might be the reason that your brain, your mind is still too active in the evening. Stop thinking too much of the past. Stop dreaming too much about the future. Practice yourself. Remain in the present. And this also then translates into your quality of sleep. Because when you sleep, you sleep. When you eat, you eat. When you talk, you talk. When you work. But nowadays, people work and they think about eating. People eat and they think about sleeping. People sleep and they think about working. So there's something not aligned. There is no synchronicity. You are here, but actually something else is there. This is not how it's supposed to be. Being present means sleep, you talk, you eat, you walk, you drive, you listen. This is ultimately where all of this journey goes. And then the amount of sleep is not so important. But the recovery rate is very, very different. I'm happy if I have 7 hours. When I have 7 hours, I'm happier. Yeah, 6 hours is quite limit. So 6 is really limit. I can maintain even 5 or 6 hours. But after a few days, I feel it's not good to continue like this, because then you're starting to really burn some energy which you cannot recover anymore. Very interesting. Now when it comes to that word energy, how it is related to diet, breathing and lifestyle, the quickest way to change something about the way how you feel during the day or energy state are these 3 things: diet, breath work and lifestyle. If you have good nutritious food, if your breathing apparatus is working properly, and if your lifestyle, let's say waking up at a certain time, going to bed early enough, having enough sleep, if you maintain all of these 3 things, chances are very, very good that your energy level is proper. If the diet is not good, if your breath is not good, if your lifestyle is not good, still you are alive somehow. But the energy that is now being sucked out from you in order to make you still functioning, it is coming from something that we, let's say, in the ancient tradition call it, comes from your essence, which means ultimately no good lifestyle, no good food, no good breath, life short, you die early. The energy that keeps you alive, the energy that fuels your body and mind, does not only come from food, air, or sleep. There is something deeper, something the ancient traditions have spoken about for centuries. Essence. Essence is not simply calories, vitamins, or oxygen. It is the raw life force that you were born with, the very substance of your being. It is like the oil inside the lamp. When it burns, the flame of life continues. But unlike food or breath, essence is not easily replenished. Once it is consumed, it is gone. And when it is gone, life comes to an end. Most of us live in ways that constantly drain this essence. Stress, worry, overthinking, rushing, chasing desires without rest. Ignoring our natural rhythms, these are not just bad habits. They are forces that eat away at the very core of who we are. You might think you are surviving because you still wake up in the morning. You still manage to work. You still manage to keep going. But that energy that is being borrowed to keep you functioning is not coming from food or sleep alone. It is being drawn from your essence. That is why no matter how much you improve your lifestyle, no matter how clean your diet, no matter how deep your breathing, if you are draining essence, the clock of your life ticks faster. This is why some people, despite eating well and living healthy, still age rapidly, still feel exhausted, and still die younger than expected. Their essence is being consumed at a higher rate. And on the other side, you may see someone with less than perfect habits, yet they seem to carry a natural vitality, a certain glow. They are not draining their essence as quickly, so their flame burns steadily. Essence is connected to presence, to stillness, to alignment with nature. When you live in constant struggle, when you ignore your inner truth, when you fight against the natural flow of life, you consume your essence faster. It is like forcing an engine to run at maximum speed all the time. It wears out quickly. No supplement can save it. No superfood can restore it. Once essence is spent, the lamp begins to flicker. So what does this mean for us? It means we must learn how to live without borrowing too much from our essence. We must cultivate rest, silence, and harmony. We must learn how to breathe not only deeply, but calmly, without agitation. We must eat not just for taste, but for nourishment. We must release unnecessary fears and desires because they drain essence faster than anything else. Every worry, every regret, every obsession takes a small piece of your life force. If you can protect your essence, you protect your time on earth. Kira, life is not about squeezing out the maximum stimulation or constantly fighting against exhaustion. Life is about guarding your essence so the flame burns slowly, brightly, and for as long as it was maintained.